And so you've made it to 33 hours into this fast, or even longer. And let me tell you, this is a turning point. At this stage, your body is burning fat for fuel, but your mind may be battling frustration, doubt, and distraction. And we're going to be talking about that in this episode tonight. Hey, family. Hey, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. If you're new to me, that's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, go to the next level. We're creating the life we've always wanted, and we are living limitless lives. Yeah. 33 hours into this week's fast. That's where we are, and welcome back to our show. Wherever you're joining us from, whether that is on LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook or Twitch, or of course here on YouTube, we are happy that you are here in the space. If you're new to me, go ahead and put new in the comments, because I'd love to welcome you with a hand clap and some music. And let you know that I am so excited that you are here. If you do have questions as we go through the show tonight, go ahead and drop those in the chat, and make sure you put a Q in front of that we'll know that that is a question that we need to get to. Also, go ahead and drop wherever you're from. Go ahead and drop that in the comments. We've been asking people to do that as we've moved through the last. Actually, today we had several of our shows and have had some folks come through. So wherever you're joining us from, go ahead and pop that in the chat right now. And what I want you to do is you're going to put where you're from, and right after that, put a dash and put how many hours you are fasting, right? Now, and this is not judgment. This is where you are, right? So if you're at 0 hours, that's fine. If you're at 2 hours, 12 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours, whatever the number of hours, go ahead and drop that so that we know where we are in the space. Special shout out to those of you who are here because you saw our content somewhere. We had a health fair earlier this week, and so some of you may be joining us because you saw us at the health fair or at your doctor's office, your church, your community center, wherever you are. We welcome you. Special shout out to our folks from Berean in Atlanta Berean, and of course Riverside Chapel in Nashville, Tennessee, and and then our new folks, the Magazine Street Church in Louisville, Kentucky. So thank you guys for coming through and hanging out with us. We are so happy that you are here in this space. We've got some good things that we're going to be taking a look at. I've got my monitors off to the side so you can see what's been going on with my blood sugars. And then right below, that's my Dexcom Clarity Report that we'll take a look at so you can see what's been happening with my blood sugars since we got into our fast. Now, just a couple of things I want to point out to you as you're coming through, those of you who are new to us, those of you who are just joining us, or even if you've been here before, when you get to our YouTube channel, we've made some changes there. And you'll hear me keep saying this because I want you to all get that on the channel we have simplified things for you so that when you get there you can just jump in and get started without too much fuss. So we've simplified that. We've taken most of the videos off of that main page, and now you should see two main playlists. One is called, and let me hop over there now so you can see. One is called Start Here. So Start Here is the playlist that we want you to get. So when you get here, that's where you would jump in. This is a curated list of all of the pivotal videos that we are wanting you to begin walking through as you're moving through this space. So you know, hey, what are the things that we teach? What are the things that we do here on the channel? That would be right there in the in the Start Here. And then right down below that, you'll see this week's videos. So if you want to know what's going on this week, you want to know what the topics are for this week, what are the shows that they've done, what did he eat as the last meal before he starts to fast, what is the meal he's going to eat when he ends the fast, the first meal after 72 hours, that will all show up here. And then of course our strength, strategy, and mindset videos will show there as well. And our pop-up live where we do our meals, all of those will show up in this space. So you want to make sure that you get over there. Now, one thing that I do want to point out is if you go to this is also, you can find this on the YouTube channel, but I want to get over and point out specifically here on Dwain Woode MD. This is our website that has been simplified as well, and you'll see there. I love this view. This is a guy standing on the top of a mountain and just realizing the expanse of his abilities. Like he has unlimited abilities when it comes to his health, and it says there, reclaim your rhythm, redefine your life. Welcome to Limitless Living. That's our platform. Transforming health, mindset, and identity, one intentional step at a time. And so if you scroll down past that, you'll see a welcome video for me to welcome you to the website. And then right down here, you'll see two buttons. One of them is similar to the button we just showed you, the playlist. If you click on that, that takes you to the playlist. And then here is a downloadable PDF. And it is a guide through the videos that are in that playlist. It helps to categorize them, helps you to understand how to walk through them, what you should be getting. There's some prompts and some exercises that you will do there. But what I love about that is at the end of the PDF, at the end of that document, there is a Limitless Living commitment statement where you are making a commitment to yourself about being healthy and doing the things you need to do to improve your metabolism. There's a date there that you can sign it, date it, and I recommend that you print it out, put it in a frame, and put it up on your wall, put it on your counter, put it on your desk, somewhere where you see that on a daily basis, and it just reminds you of the decision that you made to be healthy and the things that you're going to be doing to walk through that space, okay? And so just make sure you get over there. Now let's go ahead and let's take a look at blood sugars. We're going to get into our discussion. So first we're going to take a look at my Freestyle Libre. And right now you see my Freestyle Libre says that my blood sugars right there, my blood sugar is 70. Is right where it is. And if you scroll down right here, kind of near the mid bottom of this screen, you see those are my blood sugars. That's my graph over the course of the last 12 hours or so. So if I put my finger, I can actually begin seeing what those actual numbers are. And you'll see those numbers show up right in this line. And so we've been running right now in the low 80s, sometimes popping up. I think we started up here in the 90s, mid to low 90s, and then 80s, 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 and then popped down into the 70s later in the day. And so we just went down below 70 right there. It turned red. And so this is where we are right now. And we'll take a look at see what the actual numbers are over the course of the last 24, 33 hours since we did the fast. So that's where it is. If I look at the reports in this guy, I get to see what my time in range. My time in range right now is 89%, with 11% being below one, or being low, which is below 70. And those times when I'm below 70, that is when I'm fasting usually. Now, there have been some times where I've been out and active and working and walking and doing the strength training where my blood sugar did drop below 70. But for the most part, those numbers that you see there below 70, those are from fasting. And then, so that's 14 days. If I go to the 90-day average, you'll see similar, so 87% in target, and then 13%, which are lows. Once again, that would be with the fasting. If I get out of this screen and go to my average, and you'll see a number show up right about here. So that's my average over the last 14 days. And it breaks it out into what my average is during the course of different times of the day. And you'll see there, the highest is 101, with the lowest being usually at nighttime about 86. And if I change that to the 90-day view, once again, right there is the average of 89 over the course of the last 90 days. And then coming down further, breaking it out further into the different times of the day. And once again, 87 is the lowest, and then the highest there is a 94. Okay. The one of the things I love about this is that it gives us the ability to look at those according to the days or times of day. Now let's go over and let's take a look and see what the Dexcom Clarity or the Dexcom is saying. And it's actually now saying that my sensor is going to expire in about 24 hours, but that's okay. And so right now, 79 is what my blood sugar is. And if I put my finger on the graph, just like we did with the Libre, I can actually look at see what those numbers are. And as you know, the Libre tends to be a little, or the Dexcom tends to be a little higher than the Libre. And so scrolling. So we've been in the 80s and 90s. Right around here is my toothpaste effect, popping up to 104. Ooh, look at that. It went up to 120. Look at that right there. Okay. Right about 7 o'clock, about an hour or so after I woke up and brushed my teeth. And then continued on to the rest of the day into the 80s and low 90s. And then, of course, now to where we are. And we'll come back and take a more detailed view, look at that here in just a minute. But let's go ahead and let's go to my monitors. So I've got my Dexcom Clarity, or my Keto Mojo, and I've got the Contour. And let's go ahead and grab my container. So I need a few things from in here. Number one, I need a brown strip for blood sugar. That's for the Keto Mojo. I need a blue strip, right, for the ketones. And what do you think my ketones are going to be, by the way? Go ahead and start putting that into the chat there, into the comments. And I need a Lancet device, and I usually get 2 of those just in case I need an extra one. And then here is the these are the strips for the Contour. So let's get one of those out. Go ahead and put this back and get the strip into the Contour. And I'm just going to put these off to the side right now and go ahead and open up this is the strip for blood sugar for the Keto Mojo. Get that started. And I usually open up the ketone one as well, because otherwise sometimes that drop of blood will dry, and then I have to end up sticking myself a second time because it takes long to open this one up. So I'll leave this off to the side, so it'll be there. And let's go ahead and get one of these Lancets. And I simply just take the Lancet, open it up, find a finger, and we've been picking on this one, so ow. That should give me a good brisk drop of blood. Get that on here. Get that started. And once again, what do you think my ketones are going to be? So 33 hours of fasting. So 73 for the Keto Mojo, 74 for the Contour, and of course right there you'll see that is what the Dexcom is saying I am. And I'm going to go ahead and get back to the Libre, and let's see what the Libre says. And yeah, so all of them are pretty much in line, right? So 73, 74, 72, And then remember that the Libre was 79. Okay, so pretty close to each other, off just by a little bit. All right, so let's go ahead and take this out. Get the ketone strip into the monitor. And I've been kind of nursing this to make sure that I have a good drop. So let's go ahead and get that started. And I can actually already see it starting to dry a little bit. All right, there we go. All right, and so ketones. What do you think it's going to be? I see some people putting some guesses in there already. And 0.5. 0.5 is what the ketones are at 33 hours. And let's go ahead and I'm going to pull over. Let's see, do I have my Keto Mojo? Yeah, here's my Keto Mojo app. I'm going to pull this in because there are a couple of things I want to point out there. Get that over, scanning. So when we talk about ketones that are less than 0.5 are considered normal. 0.5 to 1.5 considered nutritional ketosis, and then above 1.5 considered therapeutic ketosis. And so here is so we've pulled it over, and I'm looking at these three numbers. The big number there is what's called the GKI, and that's simply a ratio of my glucose to ketones. And then the brown, just like we had a brown strip, right? So we had a strip that was brown, so that's what that number is there. That's the glucose. And of course, the blue or turquoise, whatever color that is the ketone. Now, if you're looking at these numbers, you're like, wait a minute. If I divide 73 by 0.5, I actually don't get 8.1, and that's because you have to actually do a conversion. So 73 and 0.5, let me remember that number, 73 and 0.5. So I'm going to go over here and grab my calculator, and I'm going to say 73, and I've got to divide that by 18. That gives me a 4.05, and if I divide that by 0.5, then I get 8.1, which is the number that I have here. Okay, so when you hear people who are not in the United States talk about blood sugars, they actually talk about blood sugars in very small numbers. So they'll say something like 5. My blood sugar was 5. Well, here, when you hear a 5, you're like, man, that was pretty low. But their calculation is 5 times 18. And so their blood sugar, when they say 5, it's actually a 90. Okay, so which now gives you what we talk about. So we deal with milligrams per deciliter here in the United States. Okay, so let's go ahead, let's go back here because I want to also go ahead and talk about a little bit about this graph. And so when we did our check-in earlier this week, right? So my ketones were low down here, which is the tan line is blood sugar. And then the turquoise line down there at the bottom with the dashed line is the ketones. So when my blood sugar was elevated and 101, and once again elevated, my ketones were low. And the ketones are low because ketones and glucose, or ketones and insulin, can't exist in the same space for long. So when my insulin levels are up, then the ketones have to go away. Now, one of the points that I made earlier this week, and I'll make it here again, is when people look at a blood sugar of 101, they say, well, that's not high. So why would the ketones not be there? Well, blood sugar of 101 is high, so normal is 99. So if my blood sugar is 101, my body is producing insulin. And if I'm producing insulin, my ketones are low because I'm not burning fat. So in order for me to transition to burning fat, in order for me to get fat burning, I have to have a situation where my insulin level is lower. Because as long as insulin is up, it will turn off fat burning. And that's a point I want to continue to drive that home. So when people say, well, I'm not losing weight, but my blood sugars are normal, and they say blood sugars are 101, 105, 110, or 110, well, if your blood sugar is 110, your body's producing insulin to keep that number lower. And once that insulin is there, then we're blunting or turning off or decreasing the ability for our body to burn fat, okay? So just wanted to make those points. And so now that my blood sugar is starting to go down, and it's 73 is what it was, you'll see that those ketones start coming up, okay? So we started down here at low, which was when we did our check-in. We weren't fasting. And then now that we're fasting and the blood sugar is coming down, the tan line is going downwards, then the turquoise dashed line is going up. And so now it's 0.5. Okay? Awesome. And let's go ahead and now let's switch over and let's take a look at what my actual blood sugars are as we look at the Dexcom Clarity Report. Let's get over there now. Let's look at this view. We haven't seen this view in a while, so let's do that. So when I look at these numbers, so over the last 14 days, my average blood sugar is 111, and so we tell people we want their average blood sugar to be between 100 and 120, and so that's in keeping with that. I'm in target 100% of the time, target being anywhere from 70 to 180. A point to be made about the 70 to 180. The 71 to 180 is a safety parameter that is given by the manufacturers, by the ruling bodies, whoever they are. But we don't want blood sugars to be in that range. As a matter of fact, we don't want them to be in the upper part of that range. So when we're looking at this range, it is possible to have a blood sugar of 179. Actually, it's possible to have a blood sugar of 180 and still be considered within the range. But as you know, 180 is a pretty high number. 70 to 99 is considered normal. So we don't want, even though the range is set there in the device, we don't want blood sugars to be in that range. And that's a little confusing sometimes for people. They say, well, my number is in the green all the time. Why is my A1C not better? Well, A1C is a marker of the blood sugar, not the green. So in order for you to have an A1C that is 6.5 or lower, which was what we're shooting for, you have to have blood sugars that are down in the low 100s, which is why I say if you have blood sugars between 100 and 120, then you will approximate a 6.5, okay? All right, so back here. And then the glucose management indicator, which is what I was just talking about, is a representation of the A1C. We can't call it an A1C because it's a calculated number. But when you get an A1C, you should expect your A1C to approximate whatever that number is that you're getting from your continuous glucose monitor. Now, let's go ahead and let's change this to a 90-day view. And we'll see here that my average over 90 days is 114, with my target time and range being 98, target number still being the same, 70 to 180. And my glucose management indicator is the same, so 6.0. So once again, I would expect it to be a 6.0. If you have not seen our show that we did a few weeks ago, where I actually walked through my personal lab results that I went to my doctor to review, make sure you get over there and watch that. That's a very good one. And it walks through the different labs that we would be looking at. And then let's go ahead and let's take a look at what's going on with my daily numbers. And so I'm going to scroll back, and we started our fast right in here. All right, so right about 1:30-ish yesterday, between 1 and 2. And go back and watch that episode so you can see what I actually ate. And now let's take a look, starting from there to where we are now, what happened to blood sugars based on the food that we ate as our last meal before we got into the fast, okay? So ended eating here, blood sugar of 123, and let's scroll through, and let's assume that we ended at 2 o'clock, okay? Let's do 2 o'clock. So we ended at 2 o'clock, and so now at 3 o'clock, blood sugar is just 1 hour later, 115. At 4 o'clock, we're 110. 5 o'clock, we're 101, right? So now we're 3 hours later. 4 hours later, we're 107. 5 hours at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 101, 101. We're staying in the low 100s. Dipped down there in 98s, low 100s. Now we dipped into the 90s, okay? And so that's the rest of that day. And coming into today, waking up in the morning, we're 103. In the 90s, we went down there a little bit, 101, 195, 95. And we're coming into the morning, dropping down into the 80s. And right about here, once again, that's our toothpaste effect. And so we're in the low 100s. And then we popped up, went up to about 122, right there, 120s, and then started coming back down as we went through the rest of the day into where we are right now. And this is the pattern that we want to see when we're fasting, when you're doing a fasting mimicking diet, when you are doing a ketogenic diet. You want to see those blood sugars, fasting mimicking diet and a fasting diet, you want to see those blood sugars not fluctuate a lot based on the food. And come back on when we do our show on Friday, we'll talk about preparing for the fast, getting through the fast successfully, and then of course breaking the fast. And so you want to know when you're in the fast, you don't want big fluctuations, because that means that your body is taking a longer time to get into ketosis if it's having to take time to bring those blood sugars down. Okay, so very important point there as you're thinking about what you're going to eat. Prior to starting in the fast, you want to make sure that you're not doing anything that's causing big spikes. Okay? All right. And so now let's go ahead and let's say hello to some of our community members. Actually, before we do that, let me do a quick check-in, because there are a couple of things that I want to talk about in our check-in that's happening with me. And so let's do that. Let's see, where are we? Yeah, so let's go ahead and let's do that. Let's do that right now. And so when we talk about checking in, so I talk physically, mentally, and emotionally, and I wanted to make a specific point here about physical, but let's go through it all together. So physically, in terms of how we're feeling, people tend to talk about their energy levels, right? Feeling like they're lightheaded, they hit a wall, right? Like I'm going through the day and it feels like I hit a wall. Or I'm lightheaded, dizzy, sweaty, feeling palpitations. All of those are the physical things that sometimes people will talk about. Now, let's talk about palpitations, feeling like your heart's racing or skipping a beat. If you're not doing a good job of hydrating, right, and you see me drinking, all right, I try to do a good job of that. You see me drinking. If you're not doing a good job of hydrating, then you will have palpitations, because the heart rate has to go up to keep the same amount of blood flowing, same amount of oxygen going to the different tissues. And so if I have less volume of blood, then my body actually makes the blood move faster so that I can keep the same nutrients going. The fatigue or feeling like I'm hitting a wall, if I'm not well rested, as I move through the fasting space, right, and my body's transitioning from burning carbohydrates or glycogen into burning fat and using ketones, then I feel that more profoundly than I should, because there is this there's this dip that happens. And if I'm already tired, if I'm already not rested, then I feel that more profoundly. Now, the point I wanted to make here is today, earlier today, I was in the office and I felt a little bit woozy, right? And I realized that I had not been drinking. We were going today. We had some things going on in the office, and so I was so focused on taking care of those things that occasionally when I'm doing a good job, I'll go back to my desk, I'll go back to my office, and I'll drink and come back out and get working. But today I was focusing on getting some things done, and so I was not mindful, and so I felt a little woozy. As a matter of fact, I felt a little nauseated earlier today, and I thought, as a man, am I going to have to break the fast to eat something to settle my stomach? And it turned out that once I started drinking, once I started getting hydrated, that those symptoms went away. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're paying attention to your body as you're fasting, otherwise you can run into some trouble there. So that's physically, because normally I come on and say, hey, everything is going good and we're hydrating and we're resting. Well, if you're not careful with both rest and hydration, then you can run into some trouble there. And so, of course, mentally, the thought process tends to go with the physical. So if you're tired, if you are exhausted, if you're not feeling well, then your thought process can be a challenge as well. One of the things that sometimes my team will say to me is, "Oh, you're a little irritable." Okay, and I have to put my hand up. Yeah, it can be, but just making sure that you're doing well physically will translate into mental, and then emotional. I was saying to some of my friends today that I'm actually having a pretty good week. we had some things happening in our office. Water heater burst and flooded parts of the office, and I was like, okay, what are we gonna do this week? But it turns out that we got through that. We worked through it, and I'm actually having a good week because we had some fun over the weekend, hanging out with my family, with my son. Good things happening in the community as well, and so just really, even though there were those issues that happened. Emotionally, I am feeling actually elated. Okay. All right. So now let's go ahead and let's say hello to our community members. See you guys out there, and let's do that right now. And I see you guys are talking. So Kenty says hello. She said, there we go. Kenty said 80 seconds, 80 seconds. Gion saying hi, Doc. Hi, Gion and LLG from Kenty. Hi, LLG and Kenty. Gion is doing a smiley face. Love your energy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Kenty doing smiley face as well. 11 a.m. Tuesday here, and so Gion is telling us what time it is, where she is. Thank you, Kenty. And Gion says 11 a.m. on Thursday. So you're that's okay. She made a correction. So Thursday, September 11th. That's right. God bless. And so we celebrate and we honor those men and women who lost their lives there. I am 44 hours into the fast. Gion says 2:04 p.m. here where Kenty is. So they're both ahead of us. Gion said, great, Kenty. And so Tuesday came and went. It did. Let's see. Good old New Zealand. Okay, the Kenty is in New Zealand. And Gion says she's from Daegu, South Korea. So glad that you are here. I didn't know that I am. Okay. All good. I follow. Okay. Let's see. Fasting 4 hours now. Kenty said Kenty did eat first meal. You have 2 meals a day. Okay, so just talking about what our fasting schedules are. And Kenty says yes, ate 4 hours ago. Great. So Kenty, good for you for 48 hours. So Gion is 48 hours, and so we talked about that in our community hangout yesterday. Was it yesterday or day before yesterday? So when is your second meal? Gion says yes, it's my second meal tomorrow morning. Kenty says I'll break my fast. Okay, so just having a good conversation there as we are talking about our fasting schedule. Very important. And so let's go ahead and let's hop over and we're going to get into our discussion. That jumped down. So Gion was guessing at 0.9 and Kente 1.0. Turns out it was 0.5 for everybody. And here's Steve saying, hello, my foreign friends. Hello, yes. Okay, good. So let's go ahead and let's hop over. Oh, Bowie, let's one more. Just wanted to say hi to all of our community members. Bowie says hi, everyone. Hey, Bowie from Gion. Let's see. So Gion is saying, how is your girl? And Bowie says, thank you for asking. My daughter loves her school. And then Jennifer is here. Howdy, all from Jennifer. Hey, Jennifer, thank you for coming through. Congratulations on the fast, Gion. Almost there. Definitely. All right, and this is a great place to actually get into our conversation as we talk about fasting and finishing strong, and this idea of getting to the end of our fast. As we're here, people are fasting 24 hours, 33 hours, 48 hours, and so forth. So let's go ahead and let's have that conversation here right now. Let's see. So in this episode, we want to talk about how do we turn frustration into focus. Because if you can focus here in this middle of the fast, you'll build the same clarity, you'll build the same structure, you build the same resilience and the same process that you need to finish your health goals, projects in your life, even for your blueprint that we are saying, hey, this is how we are. This is what we're building. This is the bent of what we want to do. This is going to be our course going forward. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive in. And so what we want to do, just kind of a order of things, what we want to cover is why frustration rises at 33 hours, how to reset your identity and trust the new you, right? Because we said, hey, limitless living is powered by the new you. We want to review quickly the RAS, rhythm, alignment, and structure, the framework that we use, which is what I look for when we're talking to clients and patients to see how are they set for installing these things into their lives so that they can be successful. And then we're going to do a focus reset that we're going to try right here so that we talk about, okay, how do we finish next? Right? How do we think about this next hour? And finally, how this gets us ready and how it leads into our upcoming blueprint as we talk about finishing strong. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's get into it. So number one, let's talk about why frustration rises. Why frustration rises, and frustration is a signal. All right, I want you to get this. Frustration is a signal. It's not a stop sign. Oh yeah, it's a signal, not a stop sign. So at 33 hours in our body, what's going on is that the body, it has switched and is in the process for some people of switching from burning carbs into burning fat. The body is shifting deeper into fat burning. So ketones are going up. Fat is being burnt. We're becoming more insulin sensitive. Hormones are being reset. That reset process that goes on in fasting. Hunger waves, though, are coming and going, right? Because in that 12 to 18 hours, getting to 24 hours as the body's shifting, this is where sometimes people will feel those drops, particularly if we came into the fast with foods that are causing big fluctuations in blood sugar. Remember, the driving force behind how fast your body gets into ketosis and begins burning fat has to do with what's going on in the blood. So if those blood sugars are high, right, then the body takes a longer time to get there. But in this space, those fluctuations in blood sugar can trigger hunger, those hunger pains, those waves that come and go. Your energy might dip, as we talked about, and your brain start asking, can I really finish this? So we're talking about why frustration rises. So this is normal. This is normal. But frustration shows up because, one, fatigue begins to set in, particularly if we've not done a good job of resting. Decision fatigue is happening. So you're making decisions all the time. And if we've not created a structure, created a process that is automatic, everything within the fast, we now have to make a decision. Right? Am I gonna drink? What am I gonna drink? Am I gonna do electrolytes? What coming into the fast? What am I gonna eat for my last meal going into the fast? And you're thinking, even if you're thinking about, hey, when I end the fast, what am I going to eat? All those decisions along the way can begin setting up what we call decision fatigue. And at some point, the brain doesn't want to make any more decisions. And the simplest thing to do is to say, I'm frustrated. I don't like where this is going, and so let's go ahead. We're going to end the fast right now. Okay? So fatigue sets in, right? Because you're naturally fatigued. Number two, decision fatigue sets in because it wears on you. If you've not set up a process that takes you through the fast successfully, then everything becomes a new decision that you've got to make. And after a while, those decisions add up. And then third, there are old narratives that whisper in our mind. you know, you've quit before. Yeah, you're going to quit again. You didn't make it the last time. Can we really do this? And so all of those narratives that are in our mind are things that can rise up, particularly in this time when you are approaching that finish line, when you may be in the middle of your fast. That's one of the reasons that the Limitless Living commitment statement is so important. I've got things in my room. I've got things in my studio that remind me of commitments that I've made. But I want you to hear me. Frustration is not failure. Frustration happens. Frustration is a signal. It is a call to reset. It's a call to say, okay, I'm feeling frustrated right now. I know this is not hunger. What is causing it? What's causing it? I remember when I first started fasting, I would, and I want you to listen to me, right? So I would start fasting, and we were doing our shorter fast at the time, and then we built up to 72 hours. And so we would have in the office, in the chronology office, we've got a lot of food that comes through from reps, people who are coming through, patients are bringing things. And so what I was doing is I would go ahead and I would collect, like if we have lunch on Tuesday, I would take the lunch that I got and I would put it in the refrigerator. And if somebody came in on Thursday, I would take that and put it in the refrigerator. And somebody brought something on Monday, we'd take that and put it in the refrigerator. And at the end of the week, I would take all of that out. And in my brain, man, I had missed all of those things. Right? I had missed all of those things. So I need to catch up. I need to catch up. And then one day I brought it all out and I looked and I said, man, look at all the stuff that I would have eaten over the course of this week. And so I decided, okay, well, I'm not going to do that anymore. And then what started happening is that scarcity mindset started coming in. Man, you're missing out on all that stuff. I wasn't saving it anymore, but man, I can't wait till I end the fast so that I can go eat the stuff. And the frustration came in because I was concentrating on what I was missing or what I thought I was missing. And so let me get to the end of this fast so I can get back to life. I want you to hear that, right? So the frustration came in because I saw the fast as something that was interrupting my life, as opposed to it is a tool that I'm using as part of my life to make myself better in terms of my metabolism. So remember, it is a key. It is a tool. The fasting is. Okay. So why does frustration rise up? Those are some of the reasons. And then let's talk about this identity reset. Identity reset. So evidence beats frustration. Evidence beats excuses. Evidence beats excuses, right? So frustration, like I said, is a signal. It is not a stop sign. It's not a stop sign. So here's where focus begins in all of us. It begins with identity. If you watched our episode of Strength, Strategy, and Mindset earlier today, one of the points I made is that I understand why my brain would say to me, hey, you're not going to do this. You're not going to succeed. You don't succeed. You start and you don't end. You know why? Because the old me was like that. The old me was always going off course because I did not have structure. The old me didn't stick to it. But this new me that we've built, this new system that we've put in place, doesn't rely on my motivation. It is automatic. The old you may have lacked rhythm, may have lacked alignment, may have lacked structure. But the new you have receipts. In fact, you have proven already that you can do this because you fasted before. If you're following along with our health action plan, you've done the walking. We did a 100-day walk to consistency in health. We're doing the strength, strategy, and mindset. We did 100 days of that. We're actually on day 119 now in this series. So 19 days of the bridge. All of those things, all of the places where you have been successful, that is support for your consistency. One of the things I've asked people to do is keep an I can journal. The I can journal. I can fast for 24 hours. I can walk for 100 days. I can make decisions about what I eat. I can go to bed on time. All of those things that you're putting in the I can journal are supporting evidence so that when that inner critic begins talking to you and say, well, you're not going to do this. Right? You're not going to be successful at fasting for 24 hours. You can't fast for 24 hours. As a matter of fact, you can't get better blood sugars. I can say, no. That's the old Dwain. But look at the evidence now for the new Dwain. This new Dwain has been fasting for over 2 years and having some tremendous benefit. This new Dwain has had an A1C that's down in the 5.6s. That's evidence. This new Dwain gets up and works out. That's evidence. This new Dwain is walking. That's evidence. So every time you get a piece of evidence that says, I finished, I want you to write that down in your I Can journal. That's evidence. And evidence beats excuses every single time. So when frustration arises, you don't need a pep talk. You need proof. And your proof is your track record. Self-efficacy says that I believe based on evidence, based on the past, based on what I've done, I believe that by making decisions, I can chart the course of my destiny by my choices, my actions, and my consistency. So think about it. Think about where you've been successful. Don't let those things just be memories, because the inner coach sometimes has difficulty pulling those things out. But that inner critic, remember, think about this. Whenever you think about yourself, it's easier for you to think of things that you didn't do well. Those come like, they come like that. They're already there. So think of the things that you've done, and one of the things that you've done is you've made a choice that you are going to be healthy. That's one. I can make a choice. You showed up here to learn, educate, empower, encourage. I can do that. That goes into my I Can journal. That's the identity reset. That's what we're doing. We're no longer going on the history of that person that was there, but we're talking about this new person. And so then let's talk about the RAS reset. RAS reset, rhythm, alignment, and structure. Why leads to one step, and that one step leads to this hour. Let's talk about that. Rhythm, alignment, and structure. The rhythm of your life. That is your why. Why are you fasting? I want you to say it out loud. Whatever it is, I'm fasting to heal. I'm fasting to reset. I'm fasting to finish strong. I'm fasting to lose weight. I'm fasting because I realize that my metabolism is at risk. I realize that I've got a surgery that I need to go to. I'm realizing that I want to be around longer. I realize that whatever your why, what is your why? What's your rhythm? What's the thing that's strong enough to push you when motivation goes? Remember, motivation will spark, right? It's like a match. It goes on, it's high, it's bright, it's hot, but it burns out quickly. What's the rhythm? What's the thing that's going to push you despite the fact that you wake up in the morning and you're tired and you don't feel like going and hitting the gym, or you don't feel like going and walking, or it's much easier to just grab something out of the refrigerator than to make a choice to eat something that aligns with what you say you want to go. What's the thing that's going to do that for you? That's your rhythm. The alignment is your choice. One behavior right now that matches your why. What is that? Are the things I do, the choices I make, are the behaviors I have, do they align with where I say I want to go? Otherwise, there's disconnect. I want to go here, but I'm actually heading in that direction. I want to go there, but every choice I make is taking me in the opposite place. What is my alignment? Are my decisions, are my behaviors aligned with where I say I want to go? And then the structure is your pre-decision. Let me say that. It's your pre-decision. I've already decided where I want to go. I want to align my behavior with my rhythm. And I'm putting some things in place right now so that down there, down the line, when my motivation is gone, this thing will still take me in the right way. Don't wait until you're tired to choose your pre-decision. When I feel hungry, that's not the time to decide what I'm going to eat, because you're going to eat whatever's available. Create some if-then statements. When I'm hungry, I'll drink water first. When I feel restless, I'll walk for 5 minutes. When I feel tension, I'll go out like I do, go out back, and I'll start lifting some weights. Make those rules ahead of time. Think them through. What structure do you have? Is it a friend who's going to come pick you up so you guys can go to the gym? Or somebody's going to come from your coworker is going to come over to your desk at lunch so you guys can go walking? This is how you reset. Not with motivation, but with rhythm, alignment, and structure. When I'm talking to people, that's what I'm looking for. I teach Triple E Formula for Success. Educate, empower, encourage. But when I'm looking at your life, I'm saying, okay, is there rhythm there? Do we know our why? Is there alignment? Are the behaviors and the decisions we make, are they consistent with what we say we want to do? And do we have something in place that's going to keep us going when motivation goes? Rhythm, alignment, and structure. You got to have that if you're going to be successful. And then let's do a little focus reset. Focus reset. So focus isn't forever. It's for the next hour. I want you to hear that. Here's the secret. If you're fasting for 72 hours, you can't think about the 72nd hour. Let's finish this hour, then let's finish the next hour, and then the next one, and then the next one, and the next one. And if we do that, we will get to 72 hours. Yeah? Let's do a little reset right now. Let's do a little drill. And what I want you to do is we're going to do some breathing, right? So we're going to inhale, exhale, exhale. And we're going to do an inhale through our nose and out through our mouth, in through our nose and out through our mouth. And we're going to do that, right? We're going to do that 5 times. And as we are inhaling, we're inhaling life-giving oxygen. We're breathing out the carbon dioxide that may be building up. We're breathing in success, and we're breathing out failure. We're breathing in self-confidence. We're breathing out self-doubt. We're breathing in the inner coach. We're breathing out the inner critic. And the 5th one, we're going to breathe in, we're going to hold it for 5 count, and then we're going to breathe out. All right, so we're going to in through our nose, out through our mouth. Let's go ahead. In through our nose and out through our mouth. In through our nose and out through our mouth. In through our nose, out through our mouth. In through our nose, out through our mouth. And on this one, we're going to breathe in and hold it for a 5 count. In through our nose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and out through our mouth. And I want you to say this with me. I am here. I am focused. I'm finishing this hour. I want you to hear that. I am here. I am focused. I'm finishing this hour. So that when you're moving through the fasting space and things seem as though they're challenging and you feel frustrated, right? Just go through that exercise 5 times, in and out through the nose, and think about what's going on. You're breathing in oxygen, breathing out carbon dioxide. You're breathing in success, you're breathing out failure. You're breathing in self-confidence, you're breathing out self-doubt. And repeat that. I am here. I am focused. I am finishing this hour. That's focus. Not forever. Not every day. Not for the next 72 hours, but just this hour right now. I don't have to be successful for the whole time. I just have to be successful right here. I just got to finish this. I got to finish this strong right here, right now. That's what I've got to do. And that's our focus reset. And then let's talk a little bit about the tie-in to our blueprint. Tie-in. So mid-fast focus is equal to mid-project clarity. Wow. What you're practicing in this fast is the same skill, the same reset, the same mindset that you need in life. Let's pause. I want you to hear this. Midway through your project, midway through your health journey, midway through the year, midway through your savings, midway through your relationship, what we're practicing, this is where people usually quit. And so our goal is to build those muscles. Focus is a muscle that we can strengthen. Focus is a muscle that we can grow. But if you can focus here, in this space, you can focus out there. You can focus on your job. You can focus on the project. You can focus on that test. You can focus on whatever it is. You can focus there if you learned the skills. Mid-fast focus is a mid-project clarity. This is how you'll build the blueprint for so many areas of your life. By learning here that I'm focusing. I'm not worried about the next hour. I'm not allowing self-doubt to set in. I'm not allowing fatigue to take over. I'm not allowing the decision fatigue to be the key to everything. Frustration is going to happen. It's natural. How we reset is important. How we get there is important. We don't have to do everything right now. We just have to do this hour. So let's bring it all together. So frustration, frustration is going to happen, right? As we said, it's coming. Frustration is there. It is feedback. It is not failure. It is not a stop sign. Your identity reset gives you your receipts. This is evidence. And evidence beats excuses. I've done it. I have the things to show that this is what I am. This is how I roll. That old person, we've replaced that old person with the new installed version of myself. Rhythm, alignment, and structure. The reset gives you all the things you need. Do you know your why? Rhythm. Are your behaviors consistent with where you say you want to go? Alignment. And do you have something in place that takes the decision away from you when motivation fades? Focus, reset keeps you present. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. I am here. Remember that. 1 hour at a time, not the whole thing. And all of this, oh yeah. This is one right here. All of this that we're doing not just trains us in this health space, not just in the fasting space, but it trains us for the blueprint that's ahead, for the thing that's coming. Your challenge is to choose one focus point. Say the next hour. What is it going to be? What am I going to focus on? This is how you build, and this is how you get to the finish line. It takes practice over and over and over again. And if you can do that, you will find that it expands beyond just what we do here in terms of fasting. You've made it to 33 hours. That's huge. But remember, this isn't about pushing through with gritted teeth. It's about resetting. It's about refocusing. And it's about finishing strong. And if you can do that, if you can figure out your why, if you can align the behaviors with that, and if you can put the structure in place, as we talk about, then you will find yourself successful. And that, after all, is what we want. Long, healthy life. And that is focusing that overcomes frustration. Oh, family. That's one of my favorites. Yeah, I know. You heard me. You say that. You said, Dr. Woode, you say that all the time. Everything we talk about, you say is your favorite. You know why? Because the things that we do and the spaces that we're in have such a big component with mindset. So the glasses through which we see the life, the glasses through which we see our situation, the glasses through which we see our health, colors our behavior. And our behavior ultimately is what leads to our success or our failure. So if I can transform my thought process, if I could do a frame shift, if I can look at it a different way, then my success comes. My success is going to be there. So excited about that. And in fact, let's get back over here, because as you know, what we do, we teach by Triple E Formula for Success. Right? We educate, we empower, we encourage. We educate with the shows, with the blogs, with the podcasts. We empower with the tools that we learn. And we encourage with the community that you're a part of, that you're building, that we are building, that we're growing. And it comes with an amazing ability when we connect with each other, when our rhythm is in place, when our behavior aligns with the rhythm, and we have something in place to keep us going. Rhythm, alignment, and structure. Do you have that in place? And that's what we're building. As we talk about finishing strong and move into our blueprint series that's coming up, this is it right here. Right? How do we set ourselves up for success? Not just for today or tomorrow, but how do we make sure that we are around as long as possible and that we are as healthy as possible? You hear me say, for the reason I want to be around. I'm watching a young man grow up in my house, and I want to be around for him, for the amazing things that are going to be happening in his life. I want to be around. I want to enjoy that with him. You've got a granddaughter, grandson. You've got a daughter. You've got a son. You've got family members that you want to connect with. You want to spend some time traveling with your spouse. You want to begin hanging out with your family. Yeah. That's why we do what we do. That's why we continue to grow and expand and learn. Not just for those metrics, but ultimately for the goal of long, healthy life. We educate, we empower, and we encourage. And I'm always excited when I get to hang out with you and to be in this space because I'm always excited to see all the benefits that you guys are getting, all the improvements that we're seeing in our lives. Let's go ahead and let's say hello to some of our community members. I see, I'm going to go back here. Let's see, what do we got? So, Kenty is doing a smiley face. Gian says, Jennifer, if you are fine, could you send me a picture of your garden? 1 hour at a time. That's right, 1 hour at a time, Gian, 1 hour. Farm is always ready for visitors. Let me go back up because I'm doing it backwards. I don't want to miss some of the conversation. Let's see, where are we? Congratulations on the fast. That's from Jennifer. Gian says, thank you. Congrats on 48. I think we did go through that. Doctor, did you record your first fast on video or experiment privately when you started? Did I do my first fast on video? You know, I did a video, and I when I first started, it was called Day in the Life of an Endocrinologist, and so I recorded my weight. I think I recorded my fast. And it was just a kind of a funky, disordered video. It's in here somewhere. I've got to find it. And that's a good question. So I may go back and take some clips off of that and show you what it was like at the beginning. So what was your turning point that made fasting a part of your lifestyle? That's a very good question, Bowie, because it was, I don't know if you guys saw my video, and it's called My 1 Year Journey to Reverse My Diabetes, 25 Years in the Making. And it really kind of talked about the spaces that I was in, head-wise and in terms of my health. And the thing that actually made the decision or made the turning, because I was already on that path, right? I was frustration. We're talking about frustration. I had tried so many things. There was all of this doubt, this guilt, this shame. There was all of this personal growth that I needed to have. And I was in the process of doing that. And I'm going to say honestly to you guys, and I keep saying this, and I've said this in a little bit. I'm not going to say that being online saved me, but it certainly pushed me in a direction that I was not ready to go. And when I say that, I had a conversation with a friend of mine years ago, and he made some comments to me. And the very first video, Bowie, that you were asking about, the very first video was actually an attempt to do some of what he had told me to do, was to kind of look at myself and share. He said, people want to know what is it like in the day of a diabetic? And I've actually taken that, and I've he doesn't realize that, but I took that thing and I said, forget about a day in the life of a diabetic. How about a year in the life of and that's what we've been doing, right? So you guys have been living this conversation that I had. But this was 3-4 years ago. I went and we were whitewater rafting, and I fell off the raft and was under the raft. And when I came out of that experience, because I couldn't breathe, I was holding on for dear life. I didn't know what to do. And the only thing I knew was I could not stay where I was. I didn't know what was going to happen when I let go. I'm talking about the raft now. I didn't know what was going to happen when I let go, but I knew I couldn't stay there because I couldn't breathe. Because under the raft, there's no air. So I came out and everything in that instance went well. But that metaphor began in my life. And we did a show called The Art of Letting Go, right? And living life from the center. You guys go back and watch some of those videos. And as I was walking through the aftermath of that event, I decided I had to do something different. I couldn't stay where I was. And it was that combination of things that really spurred what you're seeing now. And all of the growth that came from that. And looking back now and saying, why did this not stick before? I had the knowledge, the education, right? That's Triple E Formula for Success, had the education, but I didn't feel empowered. And I didn't have community. We educate, we empower, and we encourage. And so when those three things came together, after all the growth was happening, when those three things hit, was when life changed. And hence, when I was going back and I was watching one of my old videos, and I started out by saying, educating the public for a better you. That was my phrase. Educating the public for a better you. Educating the public for a better you. And I'm like, well, educating the public, who am I educating? First, I got to educate myself for a better you, better us, better wherever, right? So we had to get better. We had to improve first. And it started with education. And that thing kind of morphed into what you see now. And it's still evolving, right? So I tell people now, when I get up in the morning, and I want you to hear this from me. Sometimes people, and even when I'm here, when I was at the health fair this weekend, people say to me, "Oh, you've got it now. You're doing it," and they make these comments, which I appreciate because they've seen changes. But it's not that it's 100% that I've got it all together. Every day I get up, and you know what I do? I practice limitless living. Notice what I said. I practice limitless living. It is who I am. It is how I roll. It is those are the principles that I ascribe to. And so it is a daily walk for me. And I've put the things in place. I put the structure around me because there are days when I get up that I don't feel like being there. I don't feel like whatever I'm supposed to be doing. I don't feel that day when the office flooded, right? And it's interesting that just when you need something comes through. That morning, that's Monday morning, I got up and I was going to work, and I was like, man, what's it gonna be like today? Because the office is flooded. Don't know what's gonna happen with the patients. And just then, a friend of mine in one of our chats sent a message. And the message simply said, it said that it's okay to be where you are, but it's not okay to stay there. It's okay to be in my head where I am. Wherever you are, whatever frustration, whatever doubts, whatever insecurities you have, it's okay to be there because that's where you are. But it's not okay to stay there. And that's what limitless living says, that we are pushing through the boundaries, the borders. We're pushing through the obstacles. We're not letting anything from outside or anything from inside stop us from doing what we need to do to be successful. That's the beauty of what we're doing. It's a very good question. I know that's a long answer to your question, but hey, there it is. Well, Well, thank you, thank you. Okay, let's get back over there. Let's see, where were we? So that was answer to your question. What is the turning point? Julian says, I'm fasting to recover from my binging habits and food addiction. Do you have any issues like me? My grandparents passed away because of diabetes, and I don't want to pass like them. Okay, very good reason. I'm currently eating either OMAD or 6-hour timeline. Garden Bounty is too good during summer. Today was steak with beef, with local beef, green beans from neighbor's garden. Boy says that sounds really good. Lettuce, cucumbers, carrots, tomatoes, followed by cantaloupe, all from my garden. Great, Jennifer from Gion. I love your garden. She said, I want to visit. Farm is always ready for visitors. If you are fine, could you send me a picture? So Gion wants to see a picture of that. Thank you, Doc. Thank you for all. Good afternoon. Thank you. Congratulations. Oh, yeah. Okay, awesome. Gion says, thank you, so inspiring. Thank you for that. And as I always say, I'm excited to be here with you, excited to see the benefits that you're getting in your lives as we move through this path together. We'll be back tomorrow for our pop-up right around 1 o'clock. So we do our check-in at 48 hours. Tomorrow night we'll be back here at 9 p.m. as we do our show for 56 hours. On Friday, we'll do our complete review of fasting. The Friday show will be a little off. We've got some things going on Friday, but we'll let you know more about that tomorrow, depending on what time it will be. And then on Saturday, we've got Video from the Vault. And then on Sunday morning, This Week in Review at 6 a.m. Central. And then Monday, we'll be right back here for Dwain Woode, MD Live, as we continue our path, finishing strong as we do this bridge to our blueprint. Thank you for being here. This is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life. Avoid complications. Go to the next level. We're creating the life we've always wanted, and we are living limitless lives. Good night, everybody. We'll see you in the space. See you in the community. Bye-bye.